Good morning, grade 8s. I hope you're all fine and well and that you have a wonderful weekend. Welcome back for today's lesson about economic sectors. But let's start as normally by saying hello to each other in the chat box. Right, like we have said, today's lesson is about economic sectors. There are three sectors that we are going to look at, but I just want to inform you, actually the whole week, the topics that we are going to do is every time very short topics, but I don't want to mix them, so I will keep a certain topic per day. So like I said, for today, it will be about the economic sectors. If you see them on your screen, you will see there that you get the three sectors are the primary sector, the secondary sector, and the tertiary sector. Now, what is important, first of all, is you need to identify the three different sectors. And then you need to give like a short description of each one. And then you also need to give an examples of each one. Okay, but we will look at types of case studies later in this lesson. So for now, remember what is the three economic sectors? It's the primary sector, the secondary sector, and the tertiary sector. Right, there's just again the three sectors there at the bottom for the classification of it, but let's first just see what do they mean by the economic sectors. So overall, like a definition, what is this all about? So they say economic activity is the activity concerned with production of goods and services, and hence earning of income is known as economic activity. Economic is classified into three different sectors on the basis of the economic, and that is going to be your primary sector, your secondary sector, and your tertiary sector. All right, so yes, you know the three sectors now, but just overall, if you must give a definition or explain what is the economic sectors, then you can say it is the activity concerned with production of goods and services, and hence earning of income. So you want to start to produce something from scratch into a final product, and then you need to distribute, to send that product to a certain place, and that is basically the three different sectors that you are going to work with. Right, but let's start with the first one, the primary sector. Unfortunately, I've tried my best to get it a little bit better, the picture and the words there, but it didn't want to give it better. But I will read to you what is standing there. So they say the primary sector is when we produce a good by exploiting natural resources. It is an activity of the primary sector. This is because it forms the base for all products that we make. Cotton and milk are examples of the primary sector. Since most of the natural products we get are from agriculture, like your fishing, your forestry, this sector is also called the agriculture and related sector. Okay, so with the primary sector is basically if you want to make something, let's say we want to make a table, for instance, that is going to be furniture, right? Where do we start? So what do we need to make that table? We're going to need wood. So wood is going to be here, the primary sector. All right, so normally if you need to give examples of the primary sector, then it will be anything like where you're going to start with scratch for a product. So you're going to have, for instance, forestry, you fishing, agriculture, like I say, to wood. So anything that you're going to start from scratch on, that will form part of your primary sector. The secondary sector, the economic activities which are related to the manufacturing process. For example, manufacturing of steel falls on the secondary sector. So let's take again that table that we're going to manufacture, okay, that furniture. We said, what do we need? We need wood for that. Wood is going to be part of the primary sector. But now we're going to take that wood and we're going to make a table out of it. So the table at the end of the day, your final product is going to be part of your secondary sector. So you take something from scratch, that's primary sector. You produce something, so you make a product or an item of it, that's your secondary sector. And then the next one is going to be your tertiary sector, and they say this is a sector that transports and distributes goods to retailers or wholesalers. So this is when you take that final table, that furniture that we've made, and we're going to send it off to different shops, for instance, so they can sell it. So the distribution of that to a wholesaler or a retailer or a shop, that will form part of the tertiary sector. Right, so at this stage, there are 3 economic sectors. All right, remember to know the whole definition about it, and then you need to explain what is the primary sector, the secondary sector, and tertiary sector. So again, if I can just go back, so there we've got the primary sector. So remember, this is when you start doing something from scratch, okay? And then when you're going to produce something into a product, that will be part of your secondary sector. And then when you're going to distribute it, then it's going to be your tertiary sector. Right, so I've given you now an example there. Okay, I'm going to give you a minute to look at those 3 pictures, decide by yourself what sector is going to be involved, and then we will talk through this slide, okay? Right, so you can see there on the left-hand side, there you have a picture of potatoes. Then on the right-hand side, there we have some Simba chips in the packets. And then there at the bottom, there you will see there's a picture of a shop. Right, so what is going to happen here? The potatoes is needed to make the Simba chips. So the potatoes is going to be part of your primary sector. Then you're going to take those potatoes and then you're going to make a product of it. So that's our product is the Simba chips. So that will form part of the secondary sector. And then there's a picture of a shop. So now they take that Simba chips and they're going to distribute it to the different shops or wholesalers. And that will be an example of the tertiary sector. Right. There, I'm just going to give you some more examples of the 3 different sectors. Right, the first one you will see is the primary one. There, the examples is fishing, farming, and mining. Remember what I said, this is when you're going to start something from scratch. Then the manufacturing one is going to be your secondary sector. So there you can see the car factory when you're going to make a car, for instance. flour mill or the brewery, and then the service one or the tertiary sector is like your banking, your retail shops, restaurants, wholesalers, retailers, etc. Right, there's another example. I've taken a pencil there. So you will see on the left-hand side, there is the primary level, and you see the natural resources needed to make a pencil is wood, the lead, the eraser at the back of the pencil, and the metal that we're going to need. So with the primary sector or the primary level, we're going to make a pencil. So your natural resources, what do you need to start with scratch from it, is basically those 4 bullets there. Right, now we're going to make the pencil. That will be your secondary level or secondary sector there on the right-hand side top. I say putting the different resources that make up the pencil together at the factory. So this is when you take all those natural resources from the primary sector, and then you're going to produce, or you're going to make this item, this pencil now. And then on the right-hand side bottom, there's the tertiary level. So this is where they're going to sell the pencil to the consumers, or when they're going to distribute it from where they have made it at the fabric, where they're going to send it off now to the wholesalers or to the shops, so the shops can sell it. And then on the right-hand side, there are a new level, a 4th level that you can add. They call it the quaternary level. And if you see there, it is saying the CEO or the leader of the pencil company researching and developing new types of pencils and better ways of making pencils. So the 4th step or the 4th level that you don't really have to know, but let's say just for interesting sake, you can know it is the quaternary level, but this is after it was sent off to the different shops to be sold. Then there is a person in charge of the pencil company, for instance, and that person is going to look at if they can't design maybe better pencils or more economic pencils, or maybe strange type of pencils that will sell to the kids, for instance. So that is an extra level that they're going to add. All right, but as I say, at this stage, the 3 important ones that you need to know is the primary, the secondary, and the tertiary level. Right, so I'm quickly going back. I want to show you some slides, the previous slides again, and I want you guys to scan through it because I'm going to ask you again some questions. So let's just have a recap. Okay, remember, as I said, there are 3 different economic sectors: the primary, the secondary, and the tertiary sector. Then, all right, on that slide, I've just said overall a definition you need to know of the economic sectors, and that is the activity concerned with production of goods and services to make an income at the end of the day. Then we have taken each of the 3 sectors, right? The primary sector, this is when you start from scratch to make something. What do you need for that? Thinking examples will be like fishing, mining, forestry, agriculture. Let's take another example. Let's say we want to make a jersey, for instance. So then the wool that you're going to need will be forming part of the primary sector. So where's wool coming from? From sheep, hey? So actually the sheep and the wool of the sheep is forming part of the primary sector. Title, I'm going to make a jersey now out of it, so that will be your secondary sector. So this is normally the manufacturing process that is happening, like where you design or make the item or the product in the fabric. And then after you have your finished product, then you're going to distribute it to different sections, like either to the shops or the wholesalers or the retailers, and that will form part of your tertiary sector. Right, and then we have looked at the example of Simba chips. So again, when you're going to have a packet of Simba chips in your hand, think for yourself, identify the 3 different sectors. So now you can say, okay, the potatoes that was needed to make this product, this Simba chips, that is forming part of the primary sector, and then the packet that I have in my hand, that is going to be my final product, that is part of the secondary sector, and I've purchased it at the shop, and that is forming part of the tertiary sector. Like I said, there was just some more examples of the three different sectors: the primary, manufacturing, or then the secondary sector, and the service or the tertiary sector. And then we have looked at another example where your product was a pencil, and then we identify the three different levels or sectors. So the primary one was again the natural resources that you need to make that pencil. The secondary level sector is when you actually made the pencil, and then the tertiary sector is where you're going to send it off to the shops where you can go and sell it. Right. So keep your chat box open. So I'm going to ask you the following. All right. Let's say we want to make some paper. So see like a paper in front of you, normal paper that you write on. What do you say will be the primary sector, the secondary sector, and the tertiary sector? So identify for me, I mean, paper is coming from somewhere, right? So identify for me what will be the three different levels for making paper. Now I'm going to give you some chance on that one. You can, if you know, you can put it in the chat box so we can see who is wide awake this morning, eh? Right, good. A lot of you is saying here that you need wood. That is going to be forming part of your primary sector, or like some say tree. Okay, of course, the wood is coming from the tree. So the wood or the tree, that is the first thing that you need to make some paper. Can you believe it? We need wood to make paper. So that will be forming part of your primary sector. Right. Natalie already said with the secondary sector, then that will be the paper. So this is when you're really going in the fabric, going to produce that paper. And right, and then let's see who's saying something about the tertiary sector. Right, and that will be like the selling and the buying of paper, Natalie is saying. So this is when you're going to distribute it to the shop where people can go and buy it. Right, let's take another example. I wonder if you guys will know this one, but let's try. You all know that you get this cans of bully beef, all right, in a shop. Okay, so it's a can of bully beef. Where do you guys think, where will that start? Okay, I don't want to give too much through now. I'm actually curious to see if you guys will get this one. So what do you think will be the primary sector of this can of bully beef that we can eat? I'm just waiting because I'm curious if you guys will know this one. So I'm just waiting to see what you all are writing there. Okay, Natalie, you're asking what is the product? I don't know if you know this, but in the shops you get this can of bully beef. So I just want to know what the primary sector will be. Right. Okay, some of you would say natural resources is sorry, my mistake. Natural resources is animals. Um, Let me see, what else did you write there? Um, Somebody says grow them from seeds to plants. Okay, somebody said cow. Right. Depending on what type of woolly beef it will be, but it can be, yes, it's coming from an animal. So that will be your natural resource as well, or your primary sector. So sometimes you get where it's going to be the cow, or sometimes even a pig. All right. As I said, depending on, let's say, what flavor of beef it's going to be. Okay, but definitely the animal will be forming part of the primary sector. Right, and then of course, when they're going to produce it into that can at the fabric, that will be your secondary sector. And then they will take it then to the shops, distribute it to the shops and to macro and to all those places. So they will be examples of the tertiary sector. Right, let's see another one. Um, let's say it's sunglasses. Okay, sunglasses. What do you think will be the primary sector? Right, I see you guys are saying, some is saying plastic, some is saying sand. Some of you uh, say recyclable grass. Um, this is your, I will say the best one here will be, okay, it's also going to depend actually what type of sunglasses you're going to have. But I will say the best one, if I'm thinking about your age as well, then I will say plastic will be the primary sector. That will be the good one to start with. And then, of course, the sunglasses itself will be the secondary sector. And then wherever you're going to buy it, or if it's your business going to sell it, the shop that's going to be involved, that will be then going to be your tertiary sector. I see somebody saying about glass. Yeah, depending on, for instance, okay, sunglasses, I will say it's more maybe plastic, but then, for instance, if you have just normal glasses that you're wearing, then definitely you get some glasses, if you understand what I'm saying. So then the glass will, for instance, be your primary sector. But the frame, again, that can be maybe made from something else. Sometimes it was more type of a plastic frame that you have, or it can be your steel frame that you have. So this will be a difficult one depending on how the glasses is going to look at the end of the day. Right. Let's see. Here comes a question. Okay, but I want to change the slide first, otherwise you might going to see what question I'm going to ask. So let me just, I don't want to stop there. Okay, let me stick to that one, then you can't see any answers. So somebody mentioned for me the three different sectors. So let's see whose hands is quick, who's going to type the fastest. So mention to me the three different economic sectors. All right, who's typing, who's typing? Right, cheats are good. You the fastest. Primary, secondary, and tertiary sector. Right. If you look at that slideshow in front of you now of the Simba chips, okay, what will be the secondary sector? So tell me what will be the secondary sector if you look at that slideshow of that example in front of you. So I'm telling you the Simba chips, right? But what sector will that be? Right, that is going to be the summer chips, is going to be the secondary sector. Okay, if we look at the potatoes, right, we all know the potatoes is the primary sector, but I want another word for that, or words. Okay, so what do we say, these basic things that you need for the primary sector? Well done again, Jetta, the natural resources. All right, give me any example of the tertiary sector. So give me a name, for instance, any example. Right. Oh, good. You love checkers because two people is saying checkers. So I think you all like checkers. Right. So checkers will be a good example. Pick a pie, Woolworths. Yes, of course. Right. Let's take a final product here. Okay, let's say it is a pair of Nike Tekkies. A pair of Nike Tekkies. What will be the primary sector? A pair of Nike Tekkies. What will be the primary sector? Right, again, I like the answers because, yes, of course, it can be depending on, again, on how the pair of Nike Tekkies is going to look like. But of course, the material that you're going to need to make those Tekkies, like it can be leather, it can be fabric, rubber. So anything that you need to make that Tekkies, that will be forming part of the primary sector. And then what is then the secondary sector? The Nike Tekkies itself, where you're going to manufacture it in a fabric, all right? And then your tertiary sector will then be where you're going to distribute it to the different places, to the shops, to the wholesalers, to the all the night shops, for instance, that will be forming part of your tertiary sector. Right, so I think to get the idea, guys, what you need to do here is, except for identifying the three different sectors, giving a short description and examples of each one, they can give you a product or an item, and then they can ask you from that item, you need to identify the different levels. So you need to identify the primary one, the secondary one, and the tertiary one, like the example again of the summer chips that you see in front of you. Or like they can give you like the pictures, and then again, but the pictures can, for instance, be mixed up. So like the shop will be the first picture, and let's say then the potatoes, and then the summer chips, and then they can tell you that you need to rearrange the pictures so according to how the three different levels is going to work. And of course, you always need to start with the primary level, then secondary, and then the tertiary level. Right. So I will look out in the box. Is there any questions for today that you want to ask? Okay, people, and then just some feedback regarding your assessments of last week. I normally don't take very long, but I want to say I'm very sorry taking for so long. I've moved over the weekend to a whole different province, so it was quite a thing. So people just bear with me, but as soon as I have any marks, then as I said, then I will communicate with you privately. All right, okay, people, then that's it for today. Thank you very much. And then we will talk tomorrow again. All right, have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.